I look at people more than I look at their businesses. And I believe that good people is all that it takes um, uh, to uh, to make a successful business, right? I am truly inspired by Falguni from Nika and Indra Nui. I take inspiration from my mother. She has been one source of inspiration that has been constant in my life.
How do you define yourself? If someone asks you, who is Ghazal Alagh, what would you say? If you have to also define some of the nurturing ingredients, if I may say, those early influences in life that made you what you are.
I'm a go-getter, as simple as it is. If I have a strong purpose behind doing something and I really, want to get it done, I will get it done and I will figure it out. So that's who Ghazal Alagh is. I don't think I've had like a very, planned or defined background till now, be it my studies, be it my career post studies, or even starting up. Nothing was planned. I think the only power that I have is that when something means a lot to me, I just figure it out and I get stuff done.
How would you say your entrepreneurial journey has been?
My first entrepreneurial stint was with this a venture that I started, which was called the dietexpert.in, where we were giving customized diet plans to consumers and charging brands because we were recommending them. I did that for about a year and a half, could not scale it, and shut it down. So that was my saying hello to the entrepreneurship and figuring out that okay, there are a lot of struggles and there are a lot of things that need to be figured out, and scale is what gives you success. Second stint was with MamaEarth. I think the purpose behind it was so strong that despite not having any experience in the FMCG industry or knowing what it takes to create products, make products, right? The purpose of solving it for Indian children and giving them certified safe quality products was something that, really pushed me to just go out there and figure it out. And initial couple of years were difficult. We started with just 6 baby products, is now a portfolio of over 200 products.
How important is it for an entrepreneur to have roadblocks to achieve success?
See, when you decide to be an entrepreneur, you should take it for granted that there are going to be enough roadblocks, enough setbacks, and enough difficulties that you'll need to overcome, right? No journey, no starting up happens without some of these troubles, and that's why it is called, that it takes a lot of, I would say, passion and it's a risky thing to do. I mean, when I started 5 years back, everybody told me that, you guys are taking a big risk. You don't know if it's going to scale, if it's going to reach the heights that you expected to reach, if it's going to be successful or not. And hence, why do that at that point of time in your life when you have a 1.5-year-old to take care of and all your rents to pay, right? So no entrepreneurship journey starts without having some of these troubles and difficulties. But till the time you consider these as building blocks, and every time you encounter one, you're just figuring ways to overcome it, you will be able to move forward. Roadblocks, failures are inevitable, I would say. I mean, वो तो होंगे ही होंगे. अगर वो नहीं होंगे तो फिर इसको entrepreneurship थोड़ी कहेंगे. Then it would be like having a job and just working for something, good or bad, you still get your salary. Doesn't happen like that here.
Do you think things would have, or some things might have turned for you differently if you were a man in a man's world, as we say, the business ecosystem?
I think I would say my initial period of 6 to 8 months when I started out would have been I would say, easier if I was a man, because when I started out, I was first a mother of a 1.5-year-old kid without any support. I mean, at that point of time, because we were starting out, I couldn't afford a 24-hour help or somebody at home to take care of my kids. So I was taking care of my son, and I was juggling with work and trying to figure things out. And that was a lot to do. There were plenty of times when I had my son in one arm and phone on the other, and the baby is crying, and I'm still trying to hear and, just sound professional, as they say, but it ends up going for a toss. Multiple times when I heard that, why don't you take care of your baby and we'll talk later? And that later never came. The other thing I would say, one place where I did experience some kind of a gender bias was when I was building my team. There we'd hired a set of people, but there comes a time when you have to divide responsibilities and say that, okay, I mean, it was majorly me and Varun, and there did come a time when I said that, okay, you play on your strengths, I play on my strengths, you take care of XYZ things, and I'll take care of XYZ functions, right? And that's the time when that little team of 10 people were also supposed to be divided, and they were, they were supposed to report into the functional heads, which were us. And two of my team members left just because they said that we're not comfortable reporting into Ghazal. I mean, that was a setback for me, and they might have had their reasons at that point of time. It could be not having enough experience. It could be they feeling that, they know more than me or whatever. But that was the first time that I experienced that, okay, just because they were, now there's a defined role and it's me, they've left the jobs. And that left me, disheartened, to be very honest. It was a very difficult time back then to accept the fact that this has happened. But then, I also decided to not take it like that. I ended up challenging my own self and saying that, okay, if they feel it, that to be the case, let me prove them wrong. And I hope I have.
Having spoken about gender inequality, how much do you think it is important in the business ecosystem in our country, and especially if you were to give any learnings to budding women entrepreneurs, what would be that piece of advice from your learnings?
Whatever it is, we can't ignore the fact that we live in a patriarchal society, right? There are certain responsibilities, there are certain, I would say, expectations from women that people don't have from men. And as much as we want to deny it and, push it out that it shouldn't be like this or this is not the case, somewhere at the end of the day, you end up seeing that, right? So for me, I would say what worked in my favor was calendarizing everything, because I don't want to live with false hopes that okay, this is your responsibility, this is my responsibility, and this is ideally how it should happen, but it doesn't work out, and hence the entire system is breaking. That is also not the way it should be, right? So I know that I have to take care of my son and give him time because he's growing up. I know that there's certain amount of time that I need to give home to keep it in place and keep it running efficiently, which only I can give, right? Because I want things to happen my way. And I also know that I have this work life to take care of, where my team should get the amount of time that they need from me, and nothing should get dropped. Now, if I'm taking care of these three things, now, and right now, if I have to talk about myself, I'd also say that I'm pregnant. So I need to physically take care of myself because I have another human being growing inside of me, and that's very important. So, it's a lot on the plate, and it does get difficult to manage all of that. But I'd say one thing that has worked for me is calendarizing stuff, right? So I prepare week-wise calendar, month-wise calendar, and then a day-wise calendar. And every day in the morning, I look at that calendar and I, prioritize or reprioritize or whatever needs to be done for that particular day. be okay with the fact कि सब कुछ नहीं होगा, completely fine, and whatever is the most important for you, make time for that.
Become a household name because of, more so because of Shark Tank's popularity now. But I want to ask you about your investments. What do you look for in companies that you like to invest in?
I look at people more than I look at their businesses. And I believe that good people is all that it takes to make a successful business, right? When we started out, we thought that we are just going to be in the baby market, which was a very small market, right? Probably the scale at which we are today, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that scale if we were just limiting ourselves there. So it doesn't matter what market size are you trying to capture, or what's your initial idea. If the person behind that idea is passionate, driven, and open to feedback and learning, right? I think that is the kind of those are the deals that I made, at least on the show, because everything else can be figured out. So even when I'm building my own team, I tell them that it's people over anything else.
Who's your role model, Ghazal?
I look up to two people, to be very honest. I take inspiration from my mother. She has been one source of inspiration that has been constant in my life. She's a housewife, right? But the way she plans stuff and executes things, I think it's amazing. And that is what I've learned from her and I've brought to my work life. If there's a dinner that is supposed to happen at home, she'll create a menu. Okay, when the guest enters, this is the drink that I'm going to serve, followed by these snacks, followed by this in this order, and then lunch, and then whatever main course, and then dessert, and then followed by coffee. I mean, there's so much planning that goes behind just planning a dinner, that she's known for her hospitality, right? I've learned that from her, and she does that in every sphere, be it taking care of the house, cleaning stuff, or whatever. She has a listicle. I work a lot with listicles when it comes to my professional life, and I think I've learned that from her. Prioritizing is something that I've learned from her, that it's very important that on a daily basis you prioritize, because that's what's going to give you peace at the end of the day. I think otherwise, in my professional network, I am truly inspired by Falguni from Nykaa and Indra Nooyi. I mean, the way these women have built businesses with a strong purpose and taken care of their personal as well as professional life, it's amazing. And for Indra Nooyi, I've read her books. Whenever I am in a difficult situation, I just want to think that, okay, if she was in that position, how would she take that call, right? Or just looking at Falguni, the way she has built a business profitably, and she doesn't believe in talking too much or spreading the word. She's just focused on her work, and she focuses on building, and that's amazing. So all of these women inspire me to do better, and I look up to them.